Thank you for joining us for another local governance and community development forum here on the Serenity Resource Connector. I am Winsome Sharir-Witter, and this fourth Thursday segment is brought to you in partnership with the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. If this is your first time tuning in, a warm welcome to you. Feel free to share where you're joining us from in the comments, or if you are affiliated with an organization, community group, or the like, feel free to share that as well in the comments. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, be sure to go ahead and do so. Like and share the link so others can benefit from the information that's shared here in this space. Welcome back to our regular viewers. It's always a pleasure to have you here sharing with us each Thursday when we go live. This month, we take a break from the counselors update. We're in August. We have gone through 14 divisions in Clarendon where the counselors shared updates as to what they're doing in their divisions, some of the challenges they're experiencing, and what their visions are for their divisions. So we are going to resume that come September, 4th Thursday. So stay tuned for that. If you have not yet seen your counselor, there's an opportunity for you to get to know the counselors in your space and ask your questions live, and they'll be happy to respond. So for this episode, we are going to be zoning in on and learning more about the Clarendon Spotlight Initiative, combating violence against women and girls. Very sore topic. And we are so happy that the Municipal Corporation and the partners are doing something to address this topic in this space. And to shed more light on this, we have joining us Shellian Forrester, Program Specialist for the Spotlight Initiative at the United Nations Development Program, more popularly known as the UNDP, and Kimberley Ashley, Local Economic Development Officer at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. And I must pause to acknowledge Cheryl Reed. Cheryl Reed commented from 5:50. The program starts at 8 p.m. Cheryl commented from 5:50. Cheryl, I need to find you and give you a token. Thank you so much. Anika, thank you so much for tuning in. A member of the Clarendon Parish Development Committee, vibrant youth there. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and share the link so the other members of the community groups can join us to hear what's happening here in this space. Anthony Wood, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Happy to have you here with us live. All right, so let's lay some foundation. So get out your notebooks or your notepad on your phone so you can take some notes. Shelly, share with us what exactly is the UNDP Spotlight Initiative program. Tell us about it. What were the primary objectives of the grant, and how do they align with the larger goal of addressing violence against women and girls?
Right. So the Spotlight Initiative is a United Nations project that was funded by the European Union to the tune of 500 million euros to be implemented from 2020 to 2023 with the end goal of eliminating violence against women and girls in Jamaica. But just to note, this is a global program. We have the Caribbean regional program as well, which is in Guyana, Trinidad, Belize, and so forth. And it's in all of the other regions as well, Africa, Asia, for example. So it's a large-scale program across the world that aims at eliminating violence against women and girls, funded by European Union and being implemented by 4 United Nations agencies. So the UNDP is one agency within the Spotlight Initiative that's implementing the project. Now, the objective of Spotlight was to look at many different components, right, that worked against empowering women and girls. So we looked at legislation, which is one pillar, looking at the Domestic Violence Act, the Sexual Harassment Act. How are those laws protecting the rights of women and girls? So that's legislation. Then the second piece we have is strengthening institutions. And this is looking at, for example, the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, the Kingston Municipal Corporation, Ministry of Local Government as a whole. How are we strengthening them to respond to violence against women and girls? We also have Pillar 3, which looks at the prevention aspect of it, looking at norms and traditional values that actually encourage or normalize violence against women and girls in our culture. And then for Pillar 4, we have quality services. Where in this pillar, we're looking at increasing the services to victims of violence. So shelters, domestic violence intervention centers, counseling, and so forth. And then Pillar 5 looks at data capacities. How are we able to measure the stats? How are we able to say that violence against women and girls is increasing on a yearly basis? Is because of the data. So with that pillar, we're strengthening the national institutions to collect data on violence against women and girls. And finally, Pillar 6 is looking at the civil society network and strengthening those on the ground community groups to respond to violence against women and girls. So that's it in a nutshell. It's 6 pillars under the Spotlight Initiative that we're working towards. And as it relates to today's conversation, it falls within Pillar 2, which is strengthening institutions. And I could go into that a little bit more, but the partnership was forged with the Clarendon Municipal Corporation with the aim of strengthening them to be able to implement programs on the ground in communities to respond to violence against women and girls. And one of the key areas that we recognized that's very important is really empowering women to have financial independence, to have economic resilience, economic independence outside of violent partners. And so it was coming out of that this component of the project really worked at giving women, victims mostly, tangible resources to establish their micro businesses, for them to become independent, for them to be able to earn their own money, for them to be able to empower them to leave their situations because they have the earning power to do so.
Amazing. And this is really, really fantastic for this Pillar 2 strengthening institution, because this was not a part of our local sustainable development plan. So it's really strengthening what it is that we already have, and that is very powerful. And I can see where that can create meaningful impact. And interestingly too, there was a church women's convention. I think it was earlier this year, where that was one of the areas that they were looking at in terms of the business component and all of that. So it's really timely, right? So we are really happy to have it here in Clarendon, but there are other parishes with high levels of violence against women and girls. Why Clarendon?
Very good question.
Yes.
When Spotlight was being designed, we utilized the statistics and the reports of violence against women and girls across the island. And 4 parishes were found to have the highest rates of violence against women and girls: Kingston and St. Andrew, Clarendon, St. Thomas, and Westmoreland. And so out of that, Spotlight is focusing on those 4 parishes because of the report. So Clarendon does have one of the highest cases of violence across the island. So we do have interventions in the other 3 parishes, but with Clarendon, their local sustainable development plan was already so far ahead. They had already launched it. So the timing was perfect for us to submit our prevention strategy to be incorporated into their local sustainable development plan. But yes, that's why Clarendon was selected, because of the 4 parishes that fall under the initiative.
So interesting. I'm not sure how many of my regular viewers are here, but I just made a connection there. We had a Project Star on our on our community safety and security forum earlier this month, where Keith Duncan and Safra Brown shared. And it so happens that except for St. Thomas, Kingston, Westmoreland, and Clarendon are the 3 target parishes. So there's something going on there, and I'm looking forward to see what exactly is actually happening as it relates to these 2 different programs and the areas that they're targeting. There must be some underlying thing there that we ought to make some connection with and get it addressed before these parishes suffer any additional consequences. All right. So finally, for this segment for you, Shelly not going anywhere. She's going to be right with us. Okay. All right, Anika, I'm going to be coming to you in a little while. So how has the project utilized or build upon the findings and data from 2016 concerning intimate partner violence in Jamaica?
Right. So interestingly enough, that's how the Spotlight Initiative was born, actually. So at the end, when the findings of the health survey, the 2016 survey, was released, the Spotlight Initiative was designed primarily from that report. If you look at our project document, that's where we refer to all of our stats, all of our reports, even the selection of the parishes came about from the health survey report. And also the 6 pillars that I mentioned before were also identified, were selected based on that report. Now, in the 2016 survey, it does say that Jamaica has the highest rate of gender-based violence in the Caribbean, and the second in Latin America and the Caribbean, actually. And it is out of that why Spotlight embarked upon this very broad objective of eliminating violence against women in all forms. And we particularly focused on family violence and intimate partner violence because, according to the reports, 1 in 4 women in Jamaica suffer or experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. And that's it could be their spouse if they're married, or just their significant other. So within gender-based violence, there are many different types of violence, and intimate partner violence was selected as one of our target issues coming out of the health survey.
Very interesting. And the dots are coming together in terms of why Clarendon and why those specific areas. All right, so we have Jodine, Lavish, Keisha, Anika, Giselle, and then we have, okay, your cousin is here. Go, Auntie. Amazing. All right, so Anika is sharing that most of us here are beneficiaries of the Spotlight Initiative. Thank you so much for tuning in. It goes to show that the work has not gone unnoticed, and the ladies appreciate what's going on here. Latoya Brown, welcome. And the others. All right, Jadine is saying, go, Miss Ashley, giving you my support. All right. Amazing. It's always such a rewarding feeling, when you go in and do these different programs and the responses. All right. So for those other participants who are not on, make sure you share the link. If they're otherwise engaged, they can always watch the replay at their convenience, but get as many as possible on. So if there's something you want to get clarified, you can get the clarification right here. All right, so let's switch gears a bit and zone in on the specific project now, the Clarendon Spotlight Initiative. Miss Ashley, yes, the UNDP would have reached out and they want to strengthen the organization and all of that. But not every opportunity that comes along, we always take up. So why did the Clarendon Municipal Corporation get involved in this particular program?
All right, so one thing in Clarendon, we strive on partnership. And when definitely UNDP reached out to us about the program, we were very excited because we had the data at hand in order to support the initiative. So we have at the Municipal Corporation, the different agencies that we have been working with to strengthen partnership and also in order to improve the lives of women and girls living in Clarendon who are facing violence activities. So when the opportunity came, we were very happy in order to be a part of the initiative. So in the Spotlight Initiative, we have trained 50 persons, 50 women and 20 girls throughout the initiative. So all 50 women would have been a part of domestic violence or they are vulnerable to domestic violence. And out of that initiative, we had persons starting their businesses and now have started their businesses and improving their lives with their children also and have moved out of the situation from their partners. All right, so first we had our personal development training, which has empowered our ladies to spot signs, know the different types of abuse that they are faced with. And also is that they have broken a lot of chains through those training in order to improve their lives. And when you look at the business part of it, the economical part of it, and the LED part of it, is that persons have started their businesses now. And they have improved their lives through all of that. So Clarendon was happy to be a part of the program. And also is that we have improved lives through the program, through our different partnerships that we have created with our partners.
All right, so who are some of those partners that you're working with? See, we have your corporate planner, Melbourne, sharing here that the CMC and partners have always sought to find opportunities to improve the lives of the people of the parish. Networking is important for us. So who are some of the partners in Clarendon that the CMC worked with?
All right, some of our partners are Victim Support Division. We had the JCF, which is the Sissoko part of it. We also had the Clarendon PDC that was a part of the initiative also, and getting the persons involved in the program.
Fantastic. And PDC, for those who are not clear on that, is the Parish Development Committee. All right, Giselle is saying, thanks for this program. It has helped me a lot. All right, amazing. All right, so let's delve into the different components. So you had personal development, and then you had what you call the LED training, which is a local economic development. That's where the businesses were formed. So how was the local economic development, that's a LED training, tailored specifically for the socioeconomic and cultural dynamics of the women in Clarendon?
All right, for the LED training, we mostly focus on entrepreneurship. All right, so for the LED training, we had persons trained in marketing, also business operations, and also enable them to also write their business plan. So the participants now have their business plan in place, and also looking at marketing and all of that comes with business. They're looking at starting up their own businesses, and And at the end of the program, they would have received a grant through the training. So where we looked at operational plan, marketing plan, succession planning in terms of their business and sustaining their business, and even looking at simple stuff as bookkeeping, which is always an issue when you start a business. The money part is very important. So we even look at that also.
Sounds like a good foundation for starting a business, and I hope that the registration and all of those good stuff were included.
Definitely.
Who are the trading partners?
We had JBDC, Jamaica Business Development Corporation, and with the participants that are involved in business, they will receive also coaching from JBDC. So they do help them in terms of business registration and in terms of business coaching also.
Fantastic. How many businesses we're talking about that came out?
We're talking about 50 businesses that is alive and well now. Yes.
So all our ladies are now business owners, operators that were in the program? All
Yes,
50?
definitely. Yes.
Wow.
And they are also, they have employed persons within their businesses. So they are really doing well and really impacting in the economic development of Clarendon.
Fantastic. We're going to hear more about that in a little while. So share with us now any success story, testimonials from the women who have completed the this LET training.
Yes, definitely. We have a lot of success stories.
Right. So you're going to share with us the top 2 out of 50.
So we also, all right, so in the entirety of the business is that we have also had women getting also involved in other organizations to even get grants to assist their business. So one of the top businesses that I will speak on is Emily Fashion. So for her, she has expanded her business and also employed persons to be a part of her business, and is also impacting the community in also training young women to become seamstress as she is. We have also in the agricultural part of it where we have persons starting their chicken rearing also, and have expanded in pig rearing. And that is one of our top one that is going. And I also mentioned is that we have a young lady that she's doing headboards and accessories and all of that she has started. So the businesses are thriving, and in Clarendon we have 50 good businesses that is alive and well. And I must say that persons who were in the situation and was dependent on their partner for financial strength, they have also moved out of their situation and are doing very well at this time.
No, that's success, because that was one of the primary objectives, right? So that they're empowered to move beyond and be able to sustain themselves and their families. So fantastic. Oh, man, the comments are really rolling in. These young people are so excited. Yes, we are business owners. I love that. I love that. Fantastic. And some young business owners too. So fashion, agriculture, and so many dynamic areas there. Looking forward to hearing more, learning more about these different areas and what we're going to do to keep sustain them. So how did you ensure that this training was relevant and accessible to women with limited education or formal training? Because those are two of the key areas that I believe I saw in terms of intimate partner violence that were part of the challenge in terms of why some of these women were in this particular situation. So how was it training carved out so it was relevant and accessible for all?
All right, so for the training with the JBDC is that we had an assessment done with our participants to definitely know in terms of their level of education and how the training will go forward. So what we did, we created a handbook for them, basically broken down to the different stages in which they will do their, for example, their business plan. So it was tailored to accommodate anyone at any level in order to complete the end goal, which is a business plan, and also given the instructions in how to start up their business. So it was very simple in terms of persons able to complete their business plan and also to receive the training and also to use the training that they would have gotten to enhance their business and also started their business.
As you mentioned, a business plan. What were some of the key the criteria for the evaluation? So all of them would have completed the business plan. How were they evaluated to see in terms of sustainability for the different businesses?
All right, so the participants, they had to go through a needs assessment basis in terms of what type of business would work best in your communities, because most of the businesses are community based. So we went through in doing in market research with them and a needs assessment. So we had gone through that with them to see what business would basically work best for them at this time in their community.
All right, and Memberine is sharing again. Kudos to JBDC. All right, Memberine is saying that the team was superb with crafting and preparing the training. They took the opportunity, understanding the participants and their situations and presented accordingly. That is very important because we're in an era when we talk about inclusivity and as much as possible to ensure that it must have been well done for all 50 to have successfully gone through the program and started businesses. How many of them had businesses before entering the program?
So we had about, all right, so in our first stage, we had 30 women. We had about 5 or so, which had started their business and wanted the help to expand, or they would have come in with their business idea. So those persons were assist in terms of enhancing their businesses, which they would have started and have their idea ongoing. And in the phase 2, we also had persons in there also that had their business, but based on financial challenges, they would have stopped doing their businesses.
Wow, so a lot of businesses were resuscitated and new ones were formed. Kudos. So how do you anticipate the establishment of small businesses? These new ones that came on board, those that were resuscitated, will contribute to actually reducing domestic violence in the long term. They're good now, but we know running a business is no easy task. The statistics are there and the challenges we are aware of. But how do you anticipate?
All right, so with our strong partnership that we have with the different agencies and the different trainings that is happening now with our ladies, I'm expecting all 50 businesses to be striving because we already have our partnership network and we also have different training with different agencies that we have introduced them to be a part of in order to help them sustain their businesses.
All right. So how long will that last? Gonna have a little hand holding going on there. How long?
Yes, there is a lot of hand holding and a lot of looking at different opportunities and introducing them to the different things that are happening in order to receive grants or business coaching, and also monitoring them to say this is what you can do to enhance your businesses and all of that.
Right. For the viewers that are on and those who might watch the replay, they might be thinking like myself, this sounds like a lot like the Youth in Business program. It's just targeted to a specific demographic. How would you respond to that? Because in terms of the grant component and everything else seems specific. This particular area of the project seems similar to the Youth in Business. As a matter of fact, I got an inquiry earlier asking a couple months ago asking about the Youth in Business program. So how would you respond to that in terms of the similarity is it that we're going to be shifting away from youth in business, or we're going to have both?
No, definitely not. The youth in business is still on board at the municipal corporation, and the criteria are totally different. With the youth in business, you would have to have a business going on for a year or so. With the Spotlight initiative, is that you don't have to have a business in order to be a part of it at all. So youth in business is still going on, and Spotlight is still alive and well.
All right. Let's switch gears a bit from the local economic development aspect of the program and look at the personal development, because that is very important. I don't know how many people realize that if you're going into business, personal development, ongoing personal development is a must, because your business will only grow as far as you grow. So it's really heartening to see that this was a part of it. So what were the key successes and impact of this particular segment, the personal development? What would you say were the key successes and the impact based on feedback from the women?
All right, so the success part about the personal development training is that persons were not aware of the, apart from the physical abuse some have received, is that the verbal abuse was there and is that they did not know. So we looked at how to spot signs in terms of abuse. We look at the type of abuse that you can encounter once you're in a relationship, getting abuse from your partner. We also look at conflict resolution, basically how you communicate with your partner and how you resolve issues in your relationship. We also looked at self-esteem, because one thing we have noticed is that women in abusive relationship or being abused is that they have their self-esteem, it affects their self-esteem overall. And the different types of and the different types of abuse and the different stuff they encounter in personal development. In personal development, it was clear to us that a lot of women have been in relationships over a while and have been going through abusive relationship over the years, and they did not realize that was basically happening to them. So it was really a good training session that we had with the ladies in terms of identify the signs of abuse, the types of abuse, building their self-esteem and survival skills, and also looking at conflict resolution. How is that they deal with their partners in relationship, and also to their family extended and their children. So that is how our personal development training aspect came about. And that is the form that it took.
Amazing. This sounds like such intense. How long did this component, the personal development component, last?
It lasted for a month.
Okay.
It was a month of training.
So once per week, they engage once per week?
Actually, it's about 2 times per week.
Okay.
Yes.
Good stuff. Right. But we had women and we had girls. So how was the curriculum designed to cater to both groups, the women and girls at varying ages? I mean, you must have had some really great presenters.
All right, so for our girls, it's girls that participated in the program. Some have been through abuse themselves, and some were vulnerable to abuse. So we took the personal development training looking at some similarities as we did with the women. So we did look at conflict resolution, and we looked at self-esteem, and also we looked at how is that building your self-esteem would have helped you throughout your life. So we looked at interviews, like for example, the girls that were involved were like about 16 to 19. So we gave them survival skills. We gave them skills to seek employment in terms of resume writing, application letters. We also put them into looking at their vision boards, like how would they view their life um, after high schools, or how do they view their life now as a young lady. And we teach them also skills, survival skills, in terms of how is that they can garner skills in order to help them to even start a small business. So in phase one, we look at makeup, makeup, and we look at lashes in order to give them some little skill set that they can build on if they choose to in life is that they want, at least they would have a skill. In phase two, we look at soap making for persons to be a part, for them to be a part of the entrepreneurial industry in order to say, okay, I'm going to start a little small business in doing soap making or doing makeup or doing lashes. So the girls were equipped in personal development and also giving them also a survival skill or a skill to start the business.
Fantastic. So all of them were out of school. You said 16?
Yes, 16 to 19, that was the age group, but we had most of them were in school
Okay.
when they did the training. So the
Fantastic.
training in phase one was because of COVID, they were out of school. So basically after class, they would have joined us for face-to-face training and online. And in phase two, we had face-to-face on Saturdays.
Great. So these, for those who have not gone on to start soap making and those different areas, do we have some who are still in school? They're continuing education?
Yes, we do have participants that are still in school, and we do have participants who are even doing their little soap making their soap for themselves and also their family. So they have been doing very well. I must say my girls are doing very well in terms of coping with the different challenges that they are faced with and also dealing with it because honestly, they have been through a lot. And even the training that we provide for them is like, it would be like a break from everything else that is happening in their life. And I found that they found a soft space or a safe place for them to express themselves and also to look at themselves in a different light as their family would have looked at them. So it has been a good program, and it can expand to even being a better program if once we have the funding to do more in Clarendon, I must say.
Right. And we have confirmations here in the comments. They're moving so fast. All right. So Dania is saying abuse comes in many forms and many women and young girls are not aware of the different signs. I think this is a good forum, a discussion that shed light on such a sensitive topic. Right. One more here from Anika. We really do appreciate the program. It's like for years we have been overlooked. It felt like nobody cared for us. This initiative came along, and so that we do matter and someone do care. I know Anika has been pushing this for some time. She even has a YouTube channel that she sought to share her story as a way of letting go of the stigma and the fear and that kind of thing. So I know how dear this is to her. Anika, I'm glad you got that kind of space where you can could connect with other girls and ladies, and you'll be able to share, and you all can benefit from that kind of support. Very amazing. As it relates to starting a business, and even for those 17 years old, 16, 17 years old, did you encounter any situation where you had participants without a birth certificate, those foundational stuff?
No, I have not met up on any participant that doesn't have any. Because what I realize is that based on the background that they're coming from, is that I've realized that they would have certain things in place. But because of sometimes the whole neglect, and probably is that there's so many, like I had one case, for example, like she had a lot of brothers and sisters, and she spoke about being neglected by her parents. So she ended up going into a relationship or with someone based on being neglected. And that is very important, is that women and girls, when we feel neglected by our parents, we tend to find comfort elsewhere. And it's not so comforting when we find out what is exactly happening to us at that time.
All right. So I trust that for those who have not yet found themselves in that situation, this will help to shed some light on what the realities are on the other side of the fence so that they don't venture down that path. So that's very good. I asked that particular question because the Serenity Resource Connector has becomes 2 years old on Saturday, August 26th. And we started with identifying opportunities for high school leavers. So this is particularly dear to me in terms of that, because a number of young people back then, what we found is that they weren't able to take up the opportunities at heart or any of those institutions, or even to register their business because they didn't have their birth certificate. So they weren't even able to get their TRN and those stuff. So that's why we want to make sure that this particular group did not leave the program with that disadvantage. So that's really important. All right, just to put it in context. So are there any noticeable behavioral changes or increased awareness among participants that you've observed, the facilitators have observed? I see the participants sharing here, so they already answered that question. But from your perspective, what top 2 or 3 would you identify as noticeable behavioral changes or increased awareness coming out of the program?
All right, so in terms of awareness, the ladies are now speaking out more. As you can see, they're very active on the session, and also you find that they are also engaging each other in order to be a part of each other's lives and also being a part of each other's business. When we just started out the program in terms of doing the training, they were so, some we were hesitant in terms of getting to know each other from a different space, and some was open to knowing each other. So in terms of awareness, they have started doing their own awareness in their community. And we have also encouraged them to be a part of their community group and be a part of their church group, because it is an ongoing process and it's an ongoing healing process for everyone. So they have started doing their part in terms of building awareness in their community and in their space. And they have also, in terms of their interaction with each other and interaction with persons, those have been increased, because one of the things you find is that withdrawal did take place when we just started out. And now you find that persons are being very open in getting to know each other, open to getting other persons involved, and open to even such as going to the agencies for help in terms of their businesses and also their personal life, and also going for their different therapy session and all of that from the trainers that are being a part of the program.
Awesome. So to wrap up this particular segment on the personal development, how do we ensure that the skills imparted in the workshops are not just theoretical, but can be applied practically in their day-to-day scenarios?
Right. So what we can say tonight, they're online and they're being very interactive. So that is one thing that has come out of the training sessions. And in terms of their day-to-day activities, is that they have applied it to their lives and also breaking even the chain of the abuse. Like, for example, I will just go back to one of my persons that were a part of our session, is that you find that her daughter was even a part of the personal development training when she have gone through the personal development training herself. She had recommended that I added her daughter to it. So therefore, in terms of their day-to-day life scenarios, they have applied that. And we can see definitely just by them coming online and being a part of the session is that the change has been made and they have been applying it day to day. And due to the fact that they would have had their business that is very active now and doing well and also providing for their children, you can definitely see the training has paid off and the training is going very far in terms of their improving their lives and also their businesses.
You mentioned something very powerful there in terms of the mother bringing her daughter on board to participate in the training.
Yes.
I think that's one of the best things. When that child looks back, the daughter looks back and see this probably one of the best things that the mother could ever do for her. Because from a previous program that was it was a youth mentorship program that was coordinated by the Freetown Foundation. That was the key, the highlight coming out as well, where there was a parent-child component, and the child also participated in the parental component of the program. And that was a highlight in terms of the impact that had on not just the parent but the child as well. They indicated that there was improvement in their relationship, the mother-son relationship. So that is very powerful. And we have a lot of sharing going on here in the comment. Melboreen, let's bring this one in, right? Because it ties in with what we're discussing. The involvement of girls in the project was a proactive move to ensure we get them early to identify abusive behaviors in partners so as to reduce the risk of them becoming victims. Very important, because earlier on we started out by establishing that that's one of the challenges. We don't know what the signs look like, and so we walk in with our eyes open and get into the thick of the fire before we realize what exactly is happening. All right, we have a question here from Sisona Worrell. How can persons reach out to be part of this initiative?
All right.
Comes just in time because we're going to be looking at impact and future plans to wrap up.
So through our partners, we would have received our list in order for persons to be a part of the program. So once you report that you have been abused to the police or the police, the victim support unit, and also Child Protective Family Service Agency, then they're the persons who provide us with the victims. And then we go through a selection process in terms of the criteria, in terms of your age, and all of that would have gone through in terms of the interview process and to see where your headspace is at and all of that. So definitely once you report it to your police, victim support unit, and also the child protective family service agency. And definitely we'll definitely reach out to you to be a part of the program.
It happens. CPFSA, Child Protection and Family Services Agency. So many changes and acronym, we get it. All right. This is great. Love this, Jamaica and Jody. I think we have heard that so many times. This program helped me to become more independent. Keep up the good work, Miss Ashley and team. because no one person can do this. But I'm happy that they're actually connecting with Miss Ashley and they have someone that they can reach out to. So Miss Ashley, where can we get some additional support? I'm sure that will be coming. This initiative should be available in all parishes. Make this accessible for those who need help. All right, Dania is preempted one of the questions that I have for Shellian, you know. All right, so as we look at impact and look to the future, we have less than 10 minutes to go. Ms. Ashley, Kimberley, how do you see the long-term impact of this project in Clarendon in terms of breaking the cycle of violence against women and girls, particularly as it relates to the Clarendon Local Sustainable Development Plan?
All right, so in our local sustainable development plan, we look at the social aspect, the social well-being of an individual, a resident in the parish. And we also look at economic prosperity. And this program Spotlight Initiative would have highlighted those stuff when you look at our personal development, which you look at the social well-being of an individual. And also when you look at the LED part of training and the business part of training, we talk about economic prosperity. So definitely in terms of our local sustainable development plan, Spotlight Initiative is in line with the plan that we currently have for the parish. And also for future plans is that I'm hoping that we'll have more funding agencies to be a part of the program and the future plans for the parish in terms of combating against violence against women and girls in parish. So even though we have started out in personal development training and business development training for now, our future plan is to go in terms of doing e-commerce in terms of the persons selling their products and all of that, and showing persons how to interact with the market more in terms of their business prosperity part of it. And also for the economic part of it is for persons to expand their business into different parts of parishes and outside of parish, and also networking with different agencies or different businesses to enhance their business. So there's a lot of plans in line for the Spotlight Initiative, and also make it more, even though it's aligned to our sustainable development plan, is that there are more strategies that are in our local sustainable development plan for us to highlight through the Spotlight Initiative.
Fantastic. And so we are looking forward to hear the updated plan, because we wrapped up 2022 learning about the local sustainable development plan. So if you're a Clarendonian, you're on here, whether you're living in Jamaica now or you're in the diaspora, you don't know much about the Clarendon Local Sustainable Development Plan, go back to the last episode in 2022 where the corporate planner outlined everything about that plan and the plans to update the plan. And see, here we're hearing one of the components that's been added to strengthen that plan. So the local governance and community development playlist has all the discussions. So whatever you want to learn about the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, the different departments, the services they provide, how you access those services, the councils for each division, what it is that they're doing, they are all right there. So you can go binge watching, so you can learn some more about your parish and what's going on there. All right, so let's look at the macro level, UNDP. Shellian, how does this project fit into the larger picture of Jamaica's effort to combat family violence? And as Daniel Smith, I hope I got your pronunciation right, was asking in terms of its scaling to other parishes in Jamaica.
Right. Okay. So the first question, how does it, fit into the larger picture? In Jamaica, within the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sports, we have the Bureau of Gender Affairs, and they were primarily responsible for developing the National Strategic Action Plan for gender-based violence. And so the Spotlight Initiative is aligned to that plan. And also, of course, Vision 2030, the place to live, work, and do business. And of course, we want our women to be able to live, work, and do business here in Jamaica free from violence. And of course, in relation to the sustainable development goals, which Jamaica has signed on to, particularly goal number 5, gender equality, Spotlight Initiative is working towards achieving gender equality here in Jamaica. And a subcomponent of that is women's economic empowerment. So we are aligned to the National Strategic Action Plan. One of the key results is that women are to be able to be agents of change. They're supposed to be independent economically, as well as just socially, and empowered as well psychologically. So the initiative is right up there with where we want to go in terms of plans for scaling up and going into other parishes. We have already started. We did also do this in St. Thomas, which is, as I had mentioned earlier, one of the other parishes under the Spotlight Initiative. So last year, this economic empowerment project was also rolled out in St. Thomas, but coming up in the next couple of months as well. This will also be in St. Thomas again, and in Westmoreland, the other parish under the Spotlight Initiative, and Kingston. So more trainings are coming. It is our hope, right, that, as Kimberley said, other funding agencies will also sign on to the Spotlight Initiative. European Union is just one funder, and we do want to see this project continue even after the end of the funding cycle from EU. But yes, more trainings are coming in the other 3 parishes, as I had mentioned before.
All right, good to know. Kimberley, what feedback mechanisms have been set up for participants to share their experiences and insights throughout the project?
All right. So the process is that persons are able to have a dialogue with the different agencies that are involved. So we look at victim support unit is that they still provide guidance for the participants. We look at Child Protective Family Service Agency, which they would have even have dialogue with the participants. So the participants, in terms of their feedback, and also myself, is that they would have been in dialogue with us also. And we looked at, even for the business aspect of it, is that they do have the dialogue open with JBDC in order to enhance their businesses. So the feedback mechanism is there, and it's open to our participants to have the dialogue, and also to also for us to help them to enhance their life and also their businesses. So that is set up for our participants to get the guidance that they do need.
All right. Shellian, how does the UNDP plan on sustaining the benefits this project beyond the grant period? If so, for example, are there any partners or local collaborations in place to ensure sustainability?
Well, this is the perfect example. Clarendon Municipal Corporation was our main implementing partner in Clarendon, and that's really how we've worked across most of the parishes. We work with the partners on the ground to do this initiative instead of us going in. They already have the presence on the ground. They have the connections with the other partners, such as VSD, as she mentioned, JCF, and so forth. So just the design of Spotlight Initiative with really giving the support to local partner organizations within the communities to do the work is in and of itself a sustainable strategy for us. Clarendon Municipal Corporation is one example, but there's also the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation that will be able to continue the work, and they, have done, even with the women on here, even the first cohort back in 2022. There's still all of that work still being done with them, and then Ministry of Local Government as well. Just generally now, looking at how we can strengthen them to continue the work. So just in terms of partners and looking at the sustainability of the project, it's having that strong collaboration with the community partners.
Right. Fantastic. We are at the top of the hour. However, let's get some insights from our live participants here. Anika is sharing that, well, she's committing that for future plans, we, the participants, will come back and give support to the program so others can benefit too, hopefully the near future. And Gareth is suggesting, well, he's saying it's a great initiative and suggesting that for future plans, focus can also be on the victims, not only the victims, but also on the perpetrators or possible perpetrators themselves. Refocus, resocialize, reduce, and prevent. Wow.
Agreed.
Fantastic. So here is something food for thought as we wrap for this episode of the Local Governance and Community Development Forum here on the Serenity Resource Connector. Thank you so much, Shellian and Kimberley, for sharing space here with me. Awesome reservoir of information, awesome initiative, and we trust that we will see this strengthening, and we have another cohort where others can benefit from the awesome work that you're doing. And other sponsors coming on board, because it takes cash to care, right?
It does.
All right, fantastic. But before we go, last week we had some foundations on sharing about their back to school treats and all those good stuff. One of them is going to be happening this weekend from that batch. But in addition to that, Stoplight Wholesale will be having a health fair tomorrow, Friday, August 25th, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., open to all their customers. And then on Saturday, they are going to be treating the children for back to school with fun and excitement from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So share the information. If you are a customer of Stoplight Wholesale, right there at the stoplight in Mayfen, or near to the stoplight, you can go on over tomorrow, benefit from the health fair, and have the children go out to get some goodies and some excitement before they get back to school. All right. Great job. Dania is saying great job. Good job, ladies. Wonderful work. Great discussion. All right. And remember, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. Set your notification and share. We share information like this on community safety and security, culture. We have Culture Con on first Thursdays, community safety and security on second Thursdays, third Thursdays. We look at community organizations, what it is they're doing in the space, how you can benefit, how you can be a part of these organizations. Fourth Thursdays, it's your local governance and community development. And remember that we are going to be continuing with the counselors update for September, October, November, December, God's willing. And on fifth Thursdays, we have Youth in Action, where our youth leaders share in this space. We're looking to have a special guest for that segment next Thursday, so stay tuned, especially our young people. You want to tune in and hear the awesome opportunities that are available out there and how you can take advantage of those opportunities. All right, we can't miss this one. Miss Ashley is our counselor. She has a heart of gold. I am happy that she is on the team that worked so hard for us to be a success. Oh, we had to close. This is a good way to wrap the program. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you all have a fantastic rest of the evening, wherever you are, or morning.